It's 1852 and two men meet. You've got Henri Otto Mayer, on one hand a metalsmith, and then you've got Jacques Victor Delforge, a merchant. They come together and they invent the cafetiere or the French press. We know what they are. We've all got one in our cupboard. Why am I doing a tutorial about how to use a French press? Why have you got a gooseneck kettle and a spoon or a set of scales? Well, yes, I think most of us do know how to make a French press, but is it possible to do it slightly better? Can we be slightly more sophisticated in the way we prepare this immersion brew? Well, I'll give you a few tips and tricks and you see if you learn anything. So I'm gonna make myself a cafetiere. It's just me here today. So why make a big brew? Why not just make one for myself? This takes about 250 ml, so a good cupful. Whenever we're brewing coffee, the recipe we try to stick to is something like 60 grams per litre. So if I'm doing 250 milliliters in this cafetiere for a good mug of coffee, I'm going to divide 60 grams by 4, which is of course 15 grams. But if we're doing a cafetiere, we can afford to be a little bit generous. So I'm going to say 16, 17 grams. Okay, so 16, 17 grams, we know that's what we're aiming for. This is what we've got the scales for. So today I'm going to make it with this delicious coffee from Guatemala. It suits an infusion brew. It's good that the coffee can just sit there and steep and slowly give out some of its flavor. This is a coffee that's great for that. So I'm gonna measure out, what did I say, 17 grams, because I might lose a fraction in the grinder. 17.5, okay, so super generous today. Using the grinder here, this is an EK43. Okay, you're probably not going to have one of these at home, but if you do grind coffee, you're looking for a sort of Himalayan pink salt consistency, so that sort of rock salt, not too coarse, but certainly a lot coarser than how you would do coffee for perhaps an AeroPress or a V60. On the EK, we go to 12.5. Okay, so we've got our 17.5, we've probably lost at least half a gram in the grinder in the chamber. So we've got about 16.5 to 17 grams of coffee, which is great. Now, before we put our coffee into a cold glass receptacle, might it be a good idea to put a bit of water in first? So I boiled the kettle, it's just off the boil now. Obviously at boiling point 100, so we're probably down to around 92, 93. If I tear off my cafetiere, I know it weighs nothing, according to the scales. I'm going to start by adding the first 50 grams into an empty vessel, okay? A little bit more. It's at this point that I'm going to add the coffee. Why am I doing that? Well, I want all of the coffee to get developed equally. And I know if I pour my coffee grounds into an empty, cold glass chamber, half of that coffee is going to pick up any moisture in the vessel and stick to that. So we're only going to wet half of it. We're only going to get half of it to develop as we want. By putting a bit of water in the base of the cafetiere, I'm putting my coffee on top of a bed of water. Now I'm going to top it up to 250 grams. And what I'm desperately trying to do, and why it's helpful to have a gooseneck, is use that sort of delicate pouring stream of hot water to get as much of the coffee wet as possible. Now, what's the spoon about? One thing you can do to try and increase the size of the stream of water and get all of the coffee as wet as possible, as evenly as possible, is just to pour over a spoon. Creates a bit of a waterfall. And that's about just over 250 grams. I'm going to put a fraction more for that 17 grams to try and get close to that 60 grams a litre. Now, a couple of agitations. You can just stir it once, stir it twice, just to try and make sure all of the coffee is wet evenly. If you really wanted to, any of the grinds that makes its way to the top, you can scoop them up and get rid of them. I wouldn't bother. I mean, that's what the mesh is for, is to keep them out. But if you wanted to be really careful and take a couple of scoops of the coffee that makes its way to the top, that's not dissolving. So we can get rid of that. That's not gonna give you anything. But I'm gonna leave it just because it creates a bit of a mess. So the magic time for immersion brews is 4 minutes. It's the same time as if you were making a cup of tea at home. So during that 4 minutes, you might choose the time to select your cup or prepare a chair where you want to go and sit and enjoy your brew. But just be mindful of the time, because what tends to happen is you go past a minute, you stop thinking about your coffee. And what can happen to it, if you run way past that 4 minute time, is you actually start to over-extract the coffee. It sits there for a little bit too long, in the same way you could do to a tea bag, and it will start to go quite unpleasant. When you plunge your coffee at the right time, there's a temptation, isn't there, to plunge all the way to the bottom And what tends to happen when we do that is all of that coffee grounds is going to get squeezed, and some of it's going to make its way through that wire mesh. Some of the coffee we don't really want, some of the more bitter grinds. What I would suggest you do is actually only plunge to about halfway, maybe 2/3. And at that stage we'll stop, and then we'll pour through the coffee mesh. We're going to use the coffee mesh as a filter. So rather than stamp to the bottom, finish at halfway, maybe 2/3, and then we can pour from there, nice and slowly. So we're going to get that rich coffee that's infused our hot water without taking too much of the sediment, too much of the silt, too much of the oil than if we were to press down aggressively with the plunger. Another trick with the Cafetiere, as tempting as it might be to try and get everything out, leave a little bit in. Leave a little bit in, because if you are desperately squeezing every last drop of coffee out, you tend to get the nastier element of that brew at the end. So that first 90%, that should be bang on. And if you're really greedy and you haven't got time to wait to allow the temperature to cool down, you can dive straight in. But already I'm smelling all of those richer notes that you get with an infusion brew, that sort of winey notes. And those cherries, that stewed winter fruits that tend to favor this method of brew. So anyway, Cafetiere, French press, call it what you will. Did you learn anything today? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're already doing these things, but perhaps, whether it's with the spoon or the gooseneck kettle, or plunging to 2/3 rather than all the way, perhaps there's something in there you might have learned. Cheers.